Good morning. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here at India Net Zero Forum. The eminent people on the dais. This is an area of that's been of interest to me for a long time. I would like to speak from the perspective of a state and that how it can make a difference, how states can make a difference, how net zero is a commitment not just of the federal governments, not just of Government of India, but how states can use can play a role in bringing about a change. I basically talk of two projects that we have done in Madhya Pradesh, which have been implemented by me, and how they have been able to make an impact on the scenario of renewable energy, especially solar energy in the country. So the first project I talk about is the project which has been the first project in India to bring down the cost of solar below that of coal. This is the project 750 megawatt project in Rewa that was done by Madhya Pradesh and by me. Before Rewa, the projects in India were based on a viability gap funding because solar was costlier than coal-based power. So the target was 4.5 rupees per unit, and solar energy was supposed to be costlier than that. So Government of India used to give a VGF to enable solar power to be available at 4.5 rupee, which still was costlier than coal. Rewa was the first project which brought down the price of solar power below that of coal. So it became, so there was a wonderful synergy between energy security, economic viability, and environmental benefit. This is how the projects were before Rewa project came up. NTPC and Secy used to do some sort of a bidding. The Secy used to have a bidding on the viability gap funding. The viability gap funding was pretty substantial, almost 10 to 15% of the capital cost. And with that viability gap funding, Secy would get power at 4.43. They would add 7 paisa marketing margin and sell it 4.5 rupee to discoms. And NTPC also had a similar system. In that background, we started this project. The initial idea was that we set up this company called RUMS, would only arrange for land and infrastructure. But we went on to take on the entire gamut of activities that's ordinarily done by Secy or NTPC. And these are the tariffs we got below 3 rupee. When Government of India companies were paying viability gap funding to get a tariff of 4.5 rupees, without any viability gap funding, a new company with no office, no permanent staff, but with a desire to do innovative things, would get a tariff of below 3 rupees. And we had participation for all big companies. 6 international companies participated. There was SoftBank from Japan. From France, there was NG was from France, Enel from Italy, there was Sembcorp. 6 companies participated. This has changed how the projects were structured in India. Secy and NTPC withdrew their tenders thereafter. Government of India issued standard bidding guidelines, and now all projects in India above 5 megawatt are legally bound to be set up on the guidelines which have been framed on the basis of Rewa project. Delhi Metro interestingly runs on this project. 1/4 of this power from this project in Rewa. Rewa is close to Allahabad on MP-UP border. 1/4 of the power comes to Delhi Metro. And the 65% of daytime demand of Delhi Metro is met from this project. And that helped me also reach this place. I took the morning flight from Bhopal, and from the airport, I took the airport metro to come here. So that it helps, the metro helps me travel, as a VIP. I travel in the driver's car because of that. That is an added benefit from the project. Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the project. The project has got a lot of recognition. It got the World Bank President Award. There is a case study on the project in Harvard, in Singapore Management University. But the same principles have been used to set up rooftop solar projects. Again, in MP, we got the lowermost tariff in the country. We have huge investor participation. The project has been set up in more than 100 buildings, including Government of India buildings like IIM Indore, Power Grid, large number of other institutions. The basic idea remaining the same: zero investment by these buildings, by these organizations like IIM Indore. This is zero investment. They save 4 lakh rupees per month so this has been done in large number of other institutions. These are the benefits for our health institutions. Our 7 medical colleges, no investment by them. They save almost 20 lakh rupees per month. I will not talk about the details. A lot of studies about this. ADB has done a case study on it. We are trying to move forward in some other aspects, trying to bring RESCO, this rooftop model, or smaller categories of buildings. It is generally thought that RESCO is not viable below 100 kilowatt. We are trying to implement over a smaller set of buildings by aggregating buildings. We are trying. RESCO has never been successful in India in the residential sector. So we are trying to aggregate colonies, houses in colonies through RWAs, and using the RESCO model to have supply power without an investment by the residents to them at a substantial discount to the DISCOM power. And we are making the DISCOM be the collection agent for the RESCO developer, so that the risk and effort that the developer would ordinarily have to make in collecting the bill that is taken care of. There are a few other projects, interesting projects that I would like to speak about. One is a wonderful project called Secy of Government of India, which is essentially a project on decentralized generation. But I would feel that its true potential has not been tapped. So we're just making a few interesting innovations to the project to make sure that it meets interesting objectives. So one objective that we are meeting, see, the broader framework is that renewable energy is widely seen as an enemy of energy stability, an enemy of DISCOMs. So we have to address that perception. We have to make it, make the DISCOMs, make the conventional energy sector feel that we are their renewable energy is their ally. So one problem that we are trying to address through Secy is the problem of overloading of substations. We have large number of overloaded substations. Typically, it costs 1 crore to replace a 5 megawatt substation by, let's say, by doubling its capacity. Now, we have had a very small change in that. Instead of injecting above the 33 by 11 kV substation, wherein if we do that, current flows through the substation like it was earlier, because substation is secular to whether it's thermal power or renewable energy or nuclear power, it's secular to that. So, but if we inject the same energy downstream of the substation, we are virtually increasing the capacity of the substation. So by that small innovation, we would really be doubling the capacity of our substations without any investment to be made on this. Now the other advantage, so this is just an illustration to, for that concept that, so we can supply to larger number of customers. Same current would flow through the transformer, but some energy would be generated locally. So you could supply both of them, virtually increasing the capacity. Bigger advantage would be that right now we are unable to supply solar power, which is the cheapest form of power, to a large number of customers because of these overloaded transformers. Because of addressing the capacity of overloading of the transformers and without making any investment in them, we would be enabling supply of real-time solar power, which is the cheapest source of power, to a larger number of our customers. Also, our farmers benefit because they get power in daytime, which is something that suits their lifestyle. Another change that we are making is that we are making the capacity of solar capacity downstream of the substation of the same as the capacity of the transformer. This would have a lot of uses in the rooftop segment. I mean, people who follow rooftop segment would know that most states have some sort of a restriction on the rooftop capacity beneath a substation. And the last innovation in Secy that we are making is that we are using renewable energy to address the problem of reactive power. General perception amongst people is that if there is a voltage drop, it is because there is excessive load and we have less power. That is never the case. The case is that the load that we have is inductive. The inductive voltage causes low voltage. Inductive load causes low voltage. Now we are trying to address it by enabling the renewable energy generators to supply reactive power. usually they supply only at unity power factor. So we are making it, we would give them, commercially compensate them for providing reactive power. And so if there is inductive load, excessive inductive load, and the voltage is going down, then we would compensate them for providing reactive power, thus helping maintaining the power factor and the voltage profile. So the beauty of Kusum C is that it is a decentralized generation, and the problem of reactive load is again decentralized. So we are using the distributed nature of Kusum C to address the problem of reactive power, which is again distributed in nature. I think I have just one last point, two small slides that I would have. One is there is some thought I have regarding flexible dispatch renewable energy. So I know that a lot of focus has been given to it. MNRE is pushing for it, but my view is that instead of that, it should be DISCOM should procure vanilla power rather than getting a cocktail of power from a generator. It is the cheapest if DISCOMs procure wind power separately, solar power separately, battery separately, and mix up the cocktail themselves rather than asking the developer to do it and to pay a high price for that. And just one last thought that I'm having, that we are going to implement this project. We have a huge difference between the demand during our Rabi months, basically October to February, and during the remaining period. So we are setting up an interesting project in Morena on the UP-MP border, wherein MP would procure power for 6 months and UP would procure for 6 months. And instead of taking power through CTU, we would be doing it through a dedicated pipeline, dedicated transmission line, so without depending on the CTU. So the basic point being that a lot of innovations can be done at the state level. The responsibility of meeting our net zero targets go beyond federal government, beyond Government of India, and I think it's up to the states to take up innovative projects to implement them. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be a part of the Net Zero Forum here. Thank you so much.